Pigs fly. XRP reaches a total market cap of 2,200 trillion. Monkeys fly out of my... Shouldn't say it on YouTube. You know where they fly out of. Trying to think which of those three things would be most shocking to me. Maybe the monkeys would be the most painful, depending upon how many monkeys. But I think the most shocking would be XRP hitting $2,200 trillion. I want to discuss yet another price prediction. Now, this particular one comes from some individuals that are well known in the XRP community. They actually did this a while ago, but it came back around, and they did an excellent job on coming up with their valuation. Doesn't mean I particularly agree with it, but we'll get into that. Now, first, let me show you on my channel. I've got an XRP playlist. Why? I've owned XRP for a while. I always disclaim if I own it or not at the time of the video recording. I'm a big dumb animal. Don't do what I do. Informational purposes only. That's my disclaimer. I did a video on XRP and Ripple, and I've got many of them in the playlist. Let me walk you through real fast. That one talks about the difference between the two. Ripple, private company. XRP, cryptocurrency. Ripple, cross-border payment solutions, called RippleNet. They can use XRP. Don't have to, but they can. They're different. Buying XRP does not mean you're getting a share of Ripple. I wanted to make that clear because some articles happen to be a little confusing. Then we went through multiple ones. I've got a couple here where I show various price predictions because some of them are all over the map. I talk about how if XRP really does take off, who stands to gain the most? Well, Ripple, because they hold a lot of it. I also have a hypothesis that the price may never change. If you're just using it for payment solution back and forth, you don't want it to go up or down. You want to receive the same amount of money that you sent. Talked about multiple things. Talked about the fact that some articles don't really tell the truth and they seem to make it confusing. Lots of price predictions. But recently, for XRP, because while I don't think it's going to be trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars just on a cross-border payment solution, in my opinion, I think there's going to be a lot of competition, et cetera, et cetera. Recently, they did something. And they added, or they say they're going to add in 2025, this video here, 2 different changes or upgrades, if you will. The first is a smart contract programmability, so you can run smart contracts on their main network. The second is their EVM sidechain development, so that essentially you can run the Ethereum virtual machine, or it's compatible with it. So they'll make creation of sidechain for the XRP ledger that's compatible with the Ethereum virtual machine. So you can run smart contracts and dApps on the XRP ledger ecosystem, and then you can bring in all kinds of developers. Okay, I think that would be a big change in their direction, could help them tremendously. But what we're going to talk about today is that most of the discussions you're hearing are just about XRP being cross-border payment solution. However, some people have thrown in it could be a world currency and it could be a store of value. Let's talk about that. I'm going to put a link to this report. The reason it came up recently is I saw that these two individuals here, Molly and Jimmy, who work at this firm, Valhil Capital. You're probably familiar with both of them. They've been proponents of XRP for quite a while. And maybe about a year or two ago, they came up with this report. I guess it was 2023. The reason I thought about it again was because she reposted it November 11th. Hey, XRP valuation study projects fair market value between $3,500 and $22,000. $22,000, 100 billion in circulation. That's $2,200 trillion market cap. Personally, I don't believe that's possible. But I want to walk you through their report, and I'll put a link to this down below. It is extremely well done. We'll go over the beginning real fast, some of the valuations real quick, and then the conclusion. So this is interesting. In the beginning, they basically say this. They want to set up what they're trying to accomplish here. If the lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple had never happened, and the XRP ledger had been in a position to grow organically without interference from the banking system and the government, what could the value of XRP been? Interesting question. Okay. They said, we choose to build the XRP valuation models in public, collecting questions and feedback from the broader community along the way. The reactions varied from immensely supportive to outright hostile, with many flavors in between. I think what they did here, the undertaking was impressive. All right. They basically said they did this to be transparent, group effort, collection of minds. They wanted to get the fair market value of XRP. They talk about all sorts of things. With the bottom, they basically came to this. The most significant and debatable assumption across all models was clear. Will XRP be primarily used as a utility asset to exchange value, or will it become the next world reserve currency that not only transacts, but is used to store the wealth of the world? Store value, much like a Bitcoin. So they're making the distinction between using it just as a utility to exchange value versus a currency and store value. They go through the methodology. They talk about fair market value. Then they go through multiple valuation models. If you're interested in this sort of thing, whether it be for XRP or not, this is really good. I had a company years ago, a software company, and we were buying out some shareholders. It was a private company. So in order to buy them out, we had to come up with a valuation for their stock. What are we going to pay them for the stock? It's a private company. Okay. We had done a funding round, but it was a while ago. So instead of using what did we sell the shares for in that funding round, since time had gone on, we had to bring in a firm, an outside auditing firm. They brought in and used multiple valuation models, took an average and said, this is what we believe it's worth. Both parties agreed and we were done. So what they did here was multiple valuation models. It's great. And the way they laid it out, this must have taken a long time. This is very well done. They go through with each valuation model. What's the model name? Who's the model builder? They talk about the approach. They talk about their assumptions, the methodology, and the conclusions of each. I'm not going to go through each, but as you can see, that's the first one. They did a second one, another model name. The third one, another model. Fourth one, and they're going through everything on the same one. The approach, the assumptions, methodology, conclusions. Number 6, okay. 6 different models. Then they came to their conclusion. I'll get right to it. Using multiple models to simulate various conditions enabled the team to understand the key driver of XRP's fair market values, which is what they're trying to obtain. While utility will likely be the primary force to drive adoption of XRP and the XRP ledger, the high speed and low cost of transactions are not primarily the drivers of the XRP price. Their empirical analysis reflects a set of values that centers around a mean value of 12,000. The values between the mean and median range between 12 and 22,000. Okay, that's where the 22,000 number came from. That was on the high end. Now, they did point something out, which I think is excellent. And then we'll talk about the very end conclusion. The irony around the price discussion for XRP is that all of the parties who have a vested interest in the asset benefit from a high price. Okay, they're throwing that out at the beginning. Well done. Adoption of XRP as a store of value is the pathway to that high valuation. The path begins with adoption for transactions and exchanges of value. So they're basically saying that in order for XRP to obtain an extremely high valuation, it can't just be the transactional nature. It has to either be a currency, and in this case, they're saying it has to be a store of value. It looks like that's the conclusion they came to, which I would say, yeah, if you think it's going to really blow up, in my opinion, it has to be valued and looked at as a store of value. So I agree with that conclusion. I don't agree with, even if it is a store of value, with it being worth 2,200 trillion. But I can see where they're going with this, and that makes sense. Very well done. Probably the best analysis I've seen, and I'm sure this took them a very long time because it's well written. So there you have it, another XRP prediction. But what I think is great is that while some of them just throw out a number and say, you should go buy it, don't ask questions, it's going to be worth a lot, here, buy mine. What they did is they said, these are our assumptions. What would drive this price higher? Is it just transactional, or must it be something more like a store of value? It appears, unless I'm reading it wrong, that their conclusion was it's going to need this to be something more like a store of value, or it's not going to achieve those higher prices. I do believe that coming up in 2025, because they've added the EVM and the smart contracts, that could make a big difference for XRP. But personally, even though I own some, I'm not going that much into it. I'm not sure if it's going to achieve, I don't really think it's going to achieve all that much in the next 6 to 12 months. Longer term, maybe. That's my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. Have a great day. And as always, I hope you make generational wealth with crypto. Thanks.